All right, everybody, buckle up because today we are diving headfirst into one of the biggest feuds in hip-hop history. Drake versus Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, this one's huge.
We've got timelines, diss tracks, the whole 9 yards.
A whole case file here.
We're talking accusations of ghostwriting, secret kids, you name it. And get this, even AI Tupac gets dragged into this whole thing.
It gets wild, but that's what makes this feud so fascinating, right?
Absolutely.
It goes way beyond just two guys trading insults.
Oh, for sure. This is about more than just disses. It's about what it means to be authentic in hip-hop.
Right. Who gets to be called a legend?
Exactly. Where do we draw the line between artistic expression and taking things too far?
Big questions.
Big questions, and we're going to unpack all of them today. But before we go there, let's rewind a bit, because believe it or not, Drake and Kendrick, they weren't always at each other's throats.
Yeah, this wasn't a, from the jump kind of rivalry.
Right. In fact, they actually started out collaborating.
Exactly. Early 2010s, go back and listen to Drake's Take Care album, 2011.
Oh, yeah, classic album.
Buried in there, there's a track, Buried Alive Interlude. Guess who the feature is?
Kendrick Lamar. See, I knew this stuff.
There you go.
And let's not forget, on Kendrick's Good Kid, M.A.A.D. City album, there's Poetic Justice, where Drake lends his vocals.
So we're not talking about two guys who are strangers to each other, you know what I mean? They had shared the mic, created together.
Right, so for them to go from that to, well, this.
Adds another layer to it all. Right.
Totally. Imagine being a fly on the wall during those early studio sessions and then fast forward to the diss tracks.
It's like watching a friendship dissolve in real time, but it's all playing out through their music.
With millions of fans watching. And this is where things start to get really interesting, because in the early 2010s, we start to see these little jabs, these subliminal shots fired.
Right. It wasn't an all-out war yet.
No, not quite. More like a
Cold War, you could say.
Exactly.
A lot of tension, a lot of reading between the lines, you know?
Like In Control, when Kendrick calls out practically every rapper in the game, including Drake. He even says, "I got love for you, but I'm trying to murder you." Bold statement.
For sure. It was a challenge.
And then you have tracks like King Kunta, where Kendrick seems to be hinting at Drake using a ghostwriter, which in the hip-hop world is a huge accusation. Huge. Because it all comes down to authenticity.
Exactly. Your lyrics are everything.
And these subliminal disses, they had everybody talking, speculating.
Fanning the flame.
Oh, yeah. Everyone was like, did he really just say that? And then there's that whole mysterious ESPN interview from back in 2014. It gets deleted. Rumors start flying that it contained a Drake diss so brutal that it could end in careers.
It's wild how even a rumored diss track can hold so much power, you know?
For real. It's like a ghost track haunting the entire feud. What do you think was said? Do you think it actually exists?
Who knows, right? But it shows how carefully these artists cultivate their image, their narrative.
Yeah.
Everything is calculated, even the things we don't get to hear.
So true. It's like a game of chess, except the board is the entire music industry.
Yeah, talk about high stakes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But things really explode in 2023.
Oh, yeah, that's when the gloves come off.
Remember that track, First Person Shooter? Drake and J. Cole.
With that bold claim about the big three of hip-hop, I remember.
J. Cole just throws it out there.
Like a grenade.
Right. So Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick. The big three. What do you think?
It was definitely a statement, that's for sure.
He was practically begging for a reaction.
And boy, did it get one.
Kendrick was not having it.
Not even a little bit.
Not one bit. And his response on like that is brutal.
He dismantles that whole big three concept.
It's like he took that idea out and just
obliterated it.
Exactly. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
This wasn't just about lyrical skill anymore. It was about who gets to define what greatness means in hip-hop.
Who gets to decide? Who sits on the throne?
Right, and from that point on, it's like a switch flip.
Back and forth they go.
Diss track after diss track.
Push-ups from Drake.
Then Kendrick fires back with Euphoria.
Oh, man, Euphoria was cold.
Ice cold.
Then Drake comes back swinging with tailor-made freestyle. But that one caused a whole other controversy.
Oh, yeah, the Tupac estate wasn't too happy about that one.
Using Tupac's vocals, even with permission, it just felt
disrespectful to some. I can see that.
Yeah, like he crossed a line.
It brought up a lot of questions like how far is too far, even in a battle?
Right, because music, especially hip-hop, it's got this raw emotional power. Where do we draw the line between art and like personal attacks?
And who decides where that line is? It's tricky.
So tricky.
Yeah.
But the music kept coming.
Oh, yeah, this feud was just getting started.
6.1 scene in LA, Family Matters, Meet the Grams.
Every track, another layer, another jab.
And the lyrics just kept getting more and more personal.
Digging deeper, exposing those raw nerves.
Like in Not Like Us, Kendrick's bars on that track.
For sure.
That one felt like a punch to the gut.
It did. To a lot of listeners, it seemed like a knockout blow.
Kendrick was in his bag with that one, no doubt.
And then, to make things even more intense, there's that whole incident at History in Toronto.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Schoolboy Q, who's tight with Kendrick, has to cancel his show.
Rumors were swirling like crazy.
People were saying Drake had something to do with
The
it.
timing was definitely suspicious.
Right. And then Sir, another artist, his show at History gets canceled too.
After DJ Scheme played Not Like Us at another venue.
Yep. Coincidence.
I don't know, man. You tell me.
It just shows how these things, they spill out into the real world.
They have real-life consequences. And it makes you wonder who really wins in this situation. Is there even a winner when things get this intense?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Tough to say, right?
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, you've got these two incredible artists at the top of their game,
Pushing each other, pushing the boundaries of hip-hop.
dropping some of their most powerful tracks ever.
Absolutely. But then on the other hand, you've got real lives being affected,
Reputations on the line.
concerts getting canceled, fans feeling the heat.
Yeah, it makes you think about the bigger picture, you know.
It does. What does it all mean? What have we learned from all this?
Well, for one thing, I think it's highlighted just how important authenticity is in hip-hop. Maybe even more so now than ever before.
Right, because with ghostwriting accusations, AI even getting involved.
That makes you question what's real, what's manufactured.
Where do we draw the line?
Exactly. And it's not just up to the artists to decide anymore, is it? The fans, they have a voice now like never before.
Oh yeah, social media has completely changed the game.
It's a whole other battleground.
For real. It's
Yeah.
like you've got the music itself,
The diss tracks.
right? The bars, the beats,
But then you've got this whole other layer of fan theories.
memes, online discussions,
It's all part of the narrative now.
which brings us to Kendrick's surprise drop, Watch the Party Die.
Oh man, talk about a power move.
Right. The timing after that whole history incident right before the Super Bowl.
Like he was saying, don't forget who's in control.
Exactly. So calculated, so deliberate.
He's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, you know what I mean?
Totally. Kendrick, he's a master strategist, both in his music and in how he presents himself to the world.
No doubt. He understands the power of silence, the power of letting his work speak for itself.
And when he does speak, it's impactful.
Every word chosen carefully.
So what does this all mean for hip-hop going forward?
Well, one thing's for sure, it's never going to be the same.
Is there even room for another feud like this?
There's always room for rivalry in hip-hop. That's part of what makes it so exciting.
Keeps things interesting.
Exactly. But this one was special, you know?
It was epic.
Drake, Kendrick, they pushed each other. They pushed the genre forward.
And they left us all wondering, what's next?
What will the next chapter of hip-hop sound like?
That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
It's always evolving.
Well, there you have it, folks. A deep dive into one of the most talked about feuds in hip-hop history.
Drake versus Kendrick Lamar.
Two titans of the game.
A rivalry for the ages.
And that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into a topic that's got everyone talking.